Hey everyone, Dan Julian here, nurse practitioner for Dan Aesthetics Medical, and I'm happy to announce that I'm being joined by the one and only, the bitchin' beautician herself, Leisa Krauss. If you're not sure who she is, she has this empire going on that's so amazing. It's called Vanity Empire Consulting, and what she's going to do is she can help take your clinic to the next level. So whether you own a clinic or whether you're a nurse or a physician, you're just getting into the field and you want to bring your game up, then this is likely the IG Live that you're going to want to watch. And the reason why is because we don't really focus on the business aspect, and this is where she can really help all of us, including myself. Our clinic is taking off right now, and I have a ton of questions, and who better than someone who's been 25 years plus in the industry, and this is what she does. This is going to be really great. I'm going to bring her on right now. Hey YouTube, before we jump into the video, make sure you check out my Patreon account. It's designed for serious medical aesthetics providers just like you. There it is. There she is herself.
There he is. Dan!
How's it going?
It's going so good. How are you?
I'm terrific. Thank you. How are you doing?
Rested. I'm good. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for this. This is my first live, Dan. This is my first Instagram live. I'm live in front of people usually, but not an Instagram live. So I'm hoping that we're going to crush this.
We are going to. For you those out there, if you're not aware, so Leisa has a podcast. It's called the Aesthetics Coaches Corner. I remember it was like Don Cherry's Coaches Corner. The Aesthetics Coaches Corner. Great name, and I love it. Actually, what's really great about your podcast is that it's short and sweet. You guys don't make it too long. You get what you need, and for someone who's looking to expand their business and has a lot of questions with regards to like contracts and all these certain things that, you know, you're not really sure who to ask except maybe your lawyer, and your lawyers kind of give you some BS answers sometimes if they're not in the industry or it's very cut and dry. I love the approach. I love the approach of the podcast because it's very honest. You have multiple opinions, and I really like your opinions. It's like straight to the point. You're giving me great pearls, and I was like, I got to bring her on this because we're going to start talking shop here.
Well, thank you, and thank you for that plug for the podcast. I'm on there with some exceptional industry leaders, and we really wanted to just do something a little bit different. And sometimes we make career limiting moves with some of the things that we say, but it's straight shooting. And I think that's what people really appreciate about it.
So we're going to get into it. I'm going to ask you some questions, and the questions are going to be led for basically two different groups here. We're going to have questions for injectors or nurses or physicians who are getting into the field looking for positions. Also, it's going to be tailored as well for coming from the employer's perspective. You're like the person to ask. I love this because often enough, whenever I'm doing these IG Lives, it's with other injectors or other plastic surgeons, other whatever, and they just know what they know and what experience. But you've been in this industry 25 plus years. This is what you do for a living, and I love it. So this is like the nuts and bolts. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so this one, right off the bat, everyone asks me this all the time. How can I find a new job if I'm a new grad? Is there anything that I have to do to stand out because no one's hiring right now? And at the same time, from an employer's perspective, what should I be looking for whenever if I get a new grad resume and they really have nothing to bring to the table other than maybe taking some courses recently?
That's a good question. And because there's courses out there cranking out new injectors and medical estheticians, that is something that we're seeing in the industry is how do I get hired? How do I put my best foot forward? And I would say that taking a course, so from injector's point of view or someone being the employee in this situation or a contractor, you really need to do more than the course. And so I think a course is a great start, but there's so much more to it. So even if you're a new grad, what would be attractive to me in the hiring process is if you were somebody that not only just took one course, but I've attended this conference, I've attended this conference, different things that you've done up and above your original course, and starting a portfolio. So anything, even in your course or shortly after, anything that you can start for before and afters. I mean, you're brand new, which is, you know, give yourself some grace. But if you've got any sort of a portfolio that you could show a potential employer would be fantastic. I also think make yourself multidisciplined. So if you're an injector, the best thing that you can do is go and do medical aesthetics. I would say if the more you can be all in, the better, and the more attractive you become as a candidate for a
So you
role.
mean like other things in medical aesthetics, like lasers or skincare, stuff like that?
Yes. So from an employer's perspective, if you're somebody who can offer my clients, if I'm going to hire you and you can do injectables, but you can also do chemical peels, you can also sell skincare like a retail rock star, or you can do laser treatments, you're then more beneficial to the company. If you're a one-trick pony and just an injector, or you know, injectors are lucky because somebody coming in as a medical esthetician can be a laser technician, but they can never do injectables. So I think injectors have a great opportunity here in our industry to crush it by getting more under their belt and offering more. You become much more attractive.
Oh, that reminds me of like whenever I was applying for nursing positions, like way back in the day when I was an RN, you know, they would laugh, but at the same time, at the end of the interview, they're like, "You're pretty smart." And I was like, "Okay, thanks." But I thought they meant smart as in I was answering the questions right. They're like, "No, you're kind of thinking outside the box. We don't get these answers." And that's a good example of what I would say is they're saying, you know, "Why would I hire you?" And everyone says the same reason, and I'm, you know, loyal, blah, blah, blah. I told them straight up, I'm like, because I'm a guy and there's not many guys around. I know there's a lot of people that need help lifting, so I'll be that guy helping you. I also will take as many overtime shifts as possible, and I'm not being, I get along with everyone. They're like, "Oh my God, this is like, you know exactly what to say." So that's it. They want someone who's going to take these shifts. They want someone who's going to take up the extra slack. They want someone who's going to go above and beyond. So apply that to medical aesthetics. If you can sell, it's like a key feature. If you can say, "Listen, I just started up, but I'm telling you I can sell anything," and you convey it in a message that is believable, and at the same time you've practiced this, you're not just BSing it, because then you're going to have to put yourself to a test. Learn how to sell. And if you can sell, and that's what you can bring to the table, then I can teach that person how to inject. And then, therefore, we have something coming together. But if you're like, "Oh, I'm a new injector and I just want to start," and you're the person because I like your Instagram, it's like, I'm sorry, what are you bringing to the table? So I love that. I love that. Thinking outside the box. So the next question for me, sometimes I think about it because you hear about people who are in law or whatever, they'll go and they'll do a preceptorship or an internship and they don't even get paid. Like, is it come to the point where we're that busy now where there's so many medical aesthetics nurses or providers that are looking for jobs and can't get hired that it's almost probably a good idea for them to say, "Listen, I'm willing to, you know, work with you. I'll work with you for, you know, a certain amount of months, and just say like 6 months, I'll train with you and I'll even see clients for you. And after that, you don't have to pay me until I'm like 6 months in. At that point, you know that I'm dedicated to this." What do you think of that?
I mean, I think that's extremely generous. I would say 6 months is a long time. Any advice I'm giving, I need to be willing to do that myself. And so I love that idea, and anybody would take somebody up on that. But realistically, could, you know, depending if you're getting into this to do this full time, if you're still keeping a hospital job or something else that you're doing. And so I think, yeah, it comes down to being willing. And so in an interview with, if you're going to join a med spa or a cosmetic derm practice, I would be more about what you can do and the value you can add. Like, are your Saturdays covered? Are your evenings covered? Because a lot of times, and this is some insider information that might piss a few people off, but I'm going to tell it to you straight. Nurse injectors that come in that are, "Well, I've been a nurse for 15 years in the hospital." Amazing. This isn't the hospital.
Yeah.
This is a new skill set for you. So I think that that's amazing, highlighting that information, but I think you've got to be willing to do the work and, you know, go above and beyond. So having a social media presence, having those things that this is going to be an attractive player, and two, being an A player, showing up looking the part. And anybody can look the part in an interview. This is where I would say for an employer, I love having a few steps to the interview. So there's going to be, I'm going to talk to you over the phone because I want to know your phone skill set. I'm going to have you in person because I want to see how you show up, how you present yourself. I also want my team to kind of meet with you, and I want you to do a job shadow for a few days. I want to see, I'd rather, before hiring you, pay you out a lump sum to come and join me. I'm just going to pay you directly for 1 month. You're going to hang out for 1 month. We're going to see if this is going to work, because it's so costly to train somebody. So then I'll decide if I'm putting you on the payroll or not with what you come to the table. So are you showing up on time? And it's not just our industry, it's every industry. You know, the biggest thing, Lise, there's no good talent out there. And so yes, there is good talent, and there are people that are hungry for it, but the people that get passed over, or the people that have trouble, you know, getting jobs and breaking into this industry, are the ones that are like, okay, so I'm still going to keep my hospital job, so my availability is Wednesdays from 1 till 4 in the afternoon, and then like no one's looking for that person, right? You've got to be somebody who's willing to bring a ton to the table and be willing to kind of pay your dues a little bit, right?
No matter what, whether it's your own business. And I think that's the misconception, right? A lot of people feel that because they're doing this part-time, they can approach it part-time. They can, take some courses here and there. They don't necessarily have to be the best, but they can do this part-time. People eventually come see them. As long as their weekends are off, they'll take the occasional off weekend. It's like, no. If you're going in, you have to go all in. Whether you want to do this part-time or full-time, the all-in aspect is going to save you because A, you're going to be a safer injector. You're going to have a lot less stress and anxiety because you're going to be doing things with a lot less risk. And at the same time, you're showing initiative to that business that you are a key player. You want to go above and beyond to help them out. And then eventually, if you potentially love this job, you're going to shift everything out of the hospital to come join this full time because it's worth it. But you have to have that mentality going in. You have to be very excited and you have to portray that with your resume and your interview. So yeah, go above and beyond, kind of give them ideas, things that you wouldn't even think about, but it's putting yourself in the employer's shoes, right? I love that what you said about the social media. Social media is like a full-time job for me. And if someone comes in like, listen, I'm going to help you with your social media, I will take that social media job and, make it my full-time job. It's like, okay, let's go because I'm the one doing it right now. And if someone can help me with that, great, because I understand the power of it. And at the same time, anyone who agrees to go all in on social media, they're going to be all in no matter what, because it is a full-time job and it's going to just make them more invested in your company. So great advice. I love that. Okay, cool. Next question. Okay, and this is kind of like similar, but right now it's difficult to retain employees. As you mentioned, it doesn't matter what industry in, but especially in medical aesthetics, it seems like people just bounce around. They're here 6 months, they leave, and then you're investing, a lot of money into them to take courses or even with your own training, and they take all that training and they run away. What can you do to make sure that you're not having a contract where you're just signing their life away saying, I own you, you cannot go anywhere else? Because I also want to respect our employees, but at the same time, make sure that saying, listen, you can't take off. You've got to stay here for a while and we're investing in you. You need to invest in us. Is there a safe type of contract that you would say, you got to work with us for 2 years minimum, and then after that, if you want to go do your own thing, that's cool. Encourage them. But if they leave beforehand, maybe there's something that they have to pay or some type of dividend. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's great. And it really is getting to be problematic in our industry. And I think too, because the grass looks greener on the other side, because there's so much grass out there. There's a med spa on every street corner. So there's always a more attractive offer. And so it is a problem. Our industry is one of the highest turnover rates is the beauty industry. So whether it's hair, whether it's aesthetics, medical aesthetics, it's a high turnover rate. And you got to think of it both from the employee and the employer. So if you're an employer, how to retain staff is be fucking amazing. And that's where it's like you give them golden handcuffs so that they don't want to leave. So it's like, I wouldn't want to work anywhere else because I'm not going to get this same thing. And so it's hard because there's a lot of employees out there that they leave because the employer is micromanaging, or they're, not allowing them to be more of an individual, or they would do things differently, or they can make more money if they go on their own. This industry is so expensive. So I would say if you're somewhere working for an employer, suggesting having a third party come in, because you as an employee aren't going to rock the boat and say, hey, you know what, if you were nicer to me and you didn't throw charts at me or you didn't whatever, I'd probably stay longer. And I'm telling you, it sounds ridiculous. I've worked for these folks in the past. It's crazy. So to be a good employer, and it comes down to that contractual agreement. And so what's in that agreement? So you're going to look at, as a benefits package, you're going to outweigh, is it better to be an employee? Is it better to be a contractor? And this is something that we're really seeing in the industry is nurse injectors that are contractors. The problem with that is the feedback from employers in plastics, derm, any med spa is, I'm nervous because this, and it's nurse injectors getting a bad rep of this person's going to come here, learn the tricks of the trade, and then go somewhere else. So if you're going to train somebody, have that in the contractual agreement that if I'm paying for this training, you always want to add the value to it. So say, Dan, if you and Michelle are paying, say, $2,500 a year towards education, but in that, they're signing off that they're going to stay. It's old school. If I give you this, you will give me this, and have that ironclad. And so there's so many variables, but I think that to have good employee retention, it is, do you offer wellness days? If somebody doesn't cancel any shifts, doesn't cancel on any patients, are you putting in a wellness day program so that you can earn extra time off? You can earn extra money. You can earn extra perks. Having a certain allotment for education a year. So maybe you say, education-wise, I'm going to do $500 a year or whatever it is. You put that into your compensation plan. And so then it's very clear. The times where it gets weird is, well, you've worked here, there's nothing in writing, and I took you to 6 courses, I had all of this stuff, and now you're going to leave. That is a major problem, and it's not fair to the employer. And I think contract nurses, it's starting to be an issue where they just want to glove up, come in, see their patient, peace out, and collect a paycheck. No one's looking for that person either. In fact, that's starting to be a red flag for a lot of practices, that you are looking for that. You're looking to see, where else has this person gone? And this industry is so small and super incestuous. Everybody knows everybody. And so your reputation is something that it should mean everything to you. So if you're going to bugger off with somebody's client list, that's being an asshole, and you wouldn't want that happening to you. And so it's, whose patient is this? I'm the service provider, so it's my patient, or is this a clinic patient? Again, contractual agreement. I know of an amazing lawyer who specializes in our industry. And the problem with having a lawyer that doesn't is they don't know all of this stuff that goes with our industry. They can help you with law, but the legality of stuff around this. And what it's doing is giving injectors a bit of a bad rep and a bad name, because there's a lot of them out there doing that. But, there's a lot of great injectors out there that just really want to have a chance, and they want to stay somewhere long term. And I think those are the ones that are going to be valued is in the long-term plan. So if I was an employer, I'd say, what is your long-term plan? And if somebody is going to start working with me and their long-term plan, and they were honest and open, then in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now, I would love to own a clinic. Then as a clinic owner, say to your team, if you've got an injector who's amazing, that does chemical peels, that sells product like a hot damn, and does laser, instead of opening your own, what can I do here? Maybe we do some profit sharing. How am I going to keep you happy? Or if you want to open a location, amazing. How could we do that together? How can I help you when we do that together? And if a good relationship is there, then that's amazing. You're going to be able to foster that and grow even further.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dan.
I'm looking forward to working with you, because I'm definitely going to be working with you. This is too good. This is like, I've already learned so much more, and I have so much more to learn, because again, this is still very new for us, and I can't wait to share this with you.
Crushing it next level. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for anybody who tuned in.
Thanks, everyone.